The guy needs to just move on already. Move on. It's over. Number one. Number two, your team's defense that you were supposedly came here to fix, your team's defense sucks. All right? The Seattle Seahawks defense is crap. The Jets have a better defense than the Seahawks do. That's with trash cornerbacks who are undrafted, right? That's the amazing thing. 3, Jamal Adams is getting his pants pulled down by Kyler Murray on national television. All right? So maybe he should shut up and stop worrying about that. Number 4, stop using depression as a way. Oh, bro, I was depressed. I sat in a dark room. My pops didn't like it. He was so upset for me. Dude, you know how serious people go through with depression? And to use it in a way where you lose football games compared to how people really have depression issues in real life as a mental health issue, do you realize the severity of that and what he's using it for? I'm going to say, what an asshole, okay? Seriously, he is. Biggest schmuck I've ever heard talk. Let me tell you, he's phony. And he's on the sideline yelling. He's sitting there with a towel on his head on the bench like a loser, sorry sap. You know what I mean? I want to see him go up to Russell Wilson and start yelling at him. You know what Russell Wilson will say? Bro, you've been here for 5 minutes. You were supposed to be the savior. Your team does. Your defense does crap. Okay? Just shut up. Go play football and don't be a little asshole. How's that for a change? And if you don't like it, all right, you could take your sorry ass to Dallas if you want and make your defense as crap as it already is. So that's all I got to say about that. Go, CJ. I had to try to top your anger. Sorry.
Well, listen, extend it a little bit because I just got a message from one of our mutual friends that would like to make an appearance on the show this evening. So I'm trying to get him the link. So I'm sure that you probably have more that you want to say. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to give my
Well, I'm excited. Like I said, I had to top yours, TJ, because your rants are as good as they get. So the top yours is tough. But again, the guy's on the first place team. Why is he still worried about what his old team is doing? It's like you said. It's like, oh, the ex-girlfriend. Oh, she's still doing. I mean, I'm almost at the point where I think the New York Jets had to put a restraining order against this guy because he's going after the one Jets drive and he's screaming at her name with the boombox saying, take me back somehow because he's being a little bitch in Seattle. That's how I look at it.
Okay. Oh, I don't think that. Wow.
Oh, no.
I have an analogy that's actually better than that. But
he thought this was going to be sunshine and rainbows. I'm going to Seattle. This is great. My brand is doing well. I'm happy. Next thing you know, his defense is what, below the league? Right. They don't know how to put him on the defense. They don't have a spot for him. He's one of the worst coverage safeties in the league, which everybody for the last couple of years. We had our blinders on about Jamal, right, CJ? We had our blinders on. He's the next Ed Reed. He's going to be great. He's going to be this. Troy Polamalu, that's what he's looking like. I don't know what the difference is between Ed Reed and Jamal Adams. Every catch, he freaking covers somebody. Okay? Jamal Adams has bricks for feet. He can't run. Can't cover shit. I'm serious. My wife's probably upstairs going, why is Josh cursing so much? But I will say this. He thought this was going to be sunshine and rainbows being here. And maybe you're right. Maybe I overdid it with my anger, with him wanting to come back to the Jets. That's definitely not true. But I will say this. I think the crazy thing is when I look at the way the Seattle defense is, and I ask you this, CJ, is the guy worth the extension that he wants?
No.
And the answer is no. It's a terrible – Seattle's defense is worse now than it was when he wasn't here last year.
This guy's been a little brat since the Jets drafted him out number 6. The Jets did him a favor drafting him 6 because 5 other teams passed up on him when he was a top 3 draft pick. That's one. Number 2, he has a lot of nerve to take his shot and say the things that he said about this organization when he came out when he was trading and writes a letter to the New York Jet fan saying that he loved his time here and that he'll never forget the fan. Then he takes a shot a week later telling in a news conference stating that he started crying when he found out the Jets traded him to Seattle in happiness. Then over the last couple of weeks, you hear about this video and there's the video cameras in the locker room. Who do you think opened his mouth after he left the organization? There was only one guy that wants to throw the New York Jets under the bus, and that's Jamal Adams. I believe Jamal Adams had everything to do with it. I can't prove it, but I guarantee you he was one of the 4 guys that opened his mouth, former players that opened his mouth about the Jets having cameras in the locker room. He wants to make the Jets a laughingstock and a mockery that nobody's going to want to go and play with the Jets. Now, as far as I'm concerned of him going home and locking himself in his room and waiting for his daddy to knock on his door and go and talk to him and go and talk to his agent because his daddy wants him out of New York because he's so depressed. You know what? Go fly a kite. You're not going to win. You're going to go to Seattle. You have the worst defense in NFL history in the secondary we've ever seen. It's not the Legion of Boom. It's the Legion of Goom, okay? You're running it. You're a loser. And you want to know something? In the end, the Seattle Seahawks are going to give you $90 million, and you're going to disappear like every $90 million player, a.k.a. Muhammad Wilkerson. You are a loser. You belong in Seattle. You're not winning nothing. The Seattle Seahawks are never going to win. And you want to know something? You can open your mouth and say whatever you want about the Jets organization. And you might be right about half the stuff. When you come out and throw an organization under the bus, when you got Le'Veon Bell, have you heard Le'Veon Bell say anything bad about the Jets since he's been traded to Kansas City? Zero. Every single player. Have you heard anything about McClendon saying anything or Avery Williams saying anything? No. You know what you hear? You hear the stupid, complete ass out of Jamal Adams' big mouth. You know what he is? He's a giant turd that comes out of a blind-ass man's ass, okay? He is a piece of garbage, okay? I can't stand him. He is the epiphany. He is the epiphany of what we hate as Jet fans. When you have players like that come to an organization and the organization love you, the fans love you, and then you try to throw the organization under the bus when you leave. What a loser, okay? And that's all I'm going to say about him. He belongs in Seattle. And you want to know something? Keep yelling at Pete Carroll, because Pete Carroll's not going to give you the contract, just like Joe Douglas wasn't going to give you the contract.
Through a village that needs its idiot back.
No.
Go to Dallas when you become a free agent and go do nothing. You're a loser, and you're never going to win anything. You think you're the best safety in the league? You're not even close. You're not even close. So don't even come close and say that you're one of the best defensive players in the league. You're an overpaid, overrated football player. 6 sacks last year. Yeah, you had 6 sacks. You were an all-pro player last year because Derwin James was hurt. Okay? That's the facts. Marcus May had a better season than you, and nobody even seen Marcus May in the second half for the New York Jets in the secondary. So that tells you one thing and one thing only. You're not $90 million. You're worth $30 million. That's what I think you are. You're a player that's overrated, and you're never going to amount to anything. And in 4 years, everybody's going to forget your name.
Whoa! Everyone's going to forget his name. Wow. That deserves a good one.
Yeah, he's a loser, man.
Oh, good for you.
He is a loser, man. He is an absolute. It ticks me off because I'm a straightforward guy. The Jets stink. They're a terrible organization right now. Hopefully, Joe Douglas is moving in the right direction. But for a guy that Joe Douglas, you wanted to be traded. He did exactly what you wanted. You went to a playoff contending team, and you go to a team that is already a structured structured team. It was a really good defense. And you go to the team, and every time you step on the field, the defense is rated even less than when you're off the field.
Jamal Adams, to me, sounds like the scorned ex-girlfriend. Now, not your typical scorned ex-girlfriend, but like the girlfriend who like dumped you for like the hotter guy who's got the nice car, he makes more money, blah, 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 buys her jewelry every single week or whatever. But she still insists on blowing up your phone, the ex-boyfriend, to tell you how you screwed up. And how she's in a much better situation where she's at, but she still blows up your phone. Now, look, I've been in a lot of relationships. I've had girls leave me. I've left, mutual, stuff like that. But never once did I ever blow up my ex-girlfriend's phone to brag to her about the new situation that I got going on over here. And that's exactly what Jamal Adams is doing right now. Because you know what? We really don't need to have all of that. You don't need all of that. Okay? And then when you throw depression into the mix, it really just makes you sound just classless and unprofessional. Now, look, truth be told, okay, I'm one of those guys that suffers from mental illness too. I suffer from anxiety and depression, been battling it since high school, okay? But for someone to sit there and to actually say something that they were depressed after finishing 7-9 because they finished 7-9, and now all of a sudden you want to get moved, you have a conversation with your dad talks to your agent, and then all of a sudden you start going scorched earth on Twitter because you want a contract or you want to be traded. That just makes you look foolish, dude. It really does. And you know what? For me, the moment that you said the word depression out of your mouth, you marginalized that mental health, that mental illness. Because I don't think that any player, okay, would use the word depressed in regards to a contract situation. Maybe I think you need to educate yourself a little bit on exactly what mental illness is. Maybe you need to educate yourself on exactly what being depressed is, okay? Maybe you need to pick up the phone and give maybe Brandon Marshall a call, former Jets wide receiver, considering that he's affiliated with Project 375, a foundation and an organization dedicated to getting people with mental health issues the help that they need, and also to create a more public understanding so we can end the stigma of mental illness. Okay? The mere fact that you used mental illness as an excuse that when you got traded to Seattle and now all of a sudden your depression is cured, okay, to me, that's a slap in the face. And I think that you're a fucking clown. And you know what? I'm glad you're not a New York Jet anymore, because I would be embarrassed for you to be a part of this football team. You know why? Because you, my friend, are an embarrassment. Because here, you were an all-pro. You had fans that worshiped you. You had fans that were screaming your name. They were chanting for your autograph, and they would do anything for you. But you decided that you didn't want to be a part of this process. You needed to go and to get paid. So you know what? You went and you got paid. You got traded to Seattle, and now you're part of a defense which is the worst in the league. Now you're surrounded by guys that play at a higher level than you do, game in and game out, and don't make excuses, because excellence is the only thing that's required, because excellence is demanded on every single play. So now you're going to blame your shitty play and take shots at the New York Jets because of you? You're going to sit here and say that you were depressed in your time in New York? Really? So you were depressed going in 7-9 with the New York Jets, but you weren't depressed going 4-12 and 5-11 with Todd Bowles, respectively, were you? No, because you know what? I remember you actively being on social media trying to get players to come to the New York Jets because you single-handedly said that you wanted to help create a winning culture here. Jamal, look, I'm just a fan, and I really don't have any skin in the game, and I don't know you from Adam. But I'm going to give you some friendly advice. Don't ever discount mental illness. And I don't ever want to hear you go on a public show, on a newscast, on a podcast, or even when you're talking to yourself in the mirror and marginalize the word depression ever again. Because I can guarantee you, if you ever did that shit in public, you would get your jaw broken. Because there are people in this country that wake up every single day that have to deal with depression and anxiety and have to force themselves to get out of bed with a medication regimen, with a therapy regimen. And there are people that struggle every single day. And all you were crying about was about getting your contract. Dude, you seriously need to educate yourself. You really do. And in a way, I kind of feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you because maybe if you pulled your head out of your ass for 5 minutes to take a look at the bigger picture, then maybe you would understand exactly what it is that you had said and why it's inappropriate.